Welcome back, and welcome if you're new. I'm the High Valyrian interpreter, and I'm sharing the tips that I wish somebody had explained to me my first time through the High Valyrian course on Duolingo. Today, we're detailing Section 1, Unit 2, which is all about basic phrases. Like Unit 1, Unit 2 is a vocabulary memorization-heavy lesson. Duo focuses on basic pleasantries and introductions mainly, but there are a few important grammatical concepts that are introduced. Let's explore. Right away, Duo gives us a list of common phrases. Most just require straightforward memorization. Ritsas, hello, Jurna, welcome, Kostilus, please, Kirimvose, thank you, Biarvose, you're welcome. But two iconic lines from the Game of Thrones universe, Valar Morghulis and Valar Dohaeris, deserve a conversation here. This is the first instance that Duolingo introduces the collective version of the noun Vala. In Unit 1, Duo shows us the singular and plural forms of man. In High Valyrian, there are 4 grammatical numbers, singular, plural, collective, and pauko. Valar is the collective version of men. There are 7 verb tenses in High Valyrian. These phrases are also the first instance Duo gives us of the Aorist verb tense, which is used for statements about general truths or facts that generally or always occur. All men must serve is a general fact that's always true. Don't get overwhelmed with the 7 verb tenses right away. With the exception of these iconic lines, Duo still only works with active present tense verbs in these first few lessons. That's this very top line found in verb conjugation charts on the High Valyrian dictionary. In Unit 1, we extensively explored that top line conjugation for active present tense verbs. Here is the present and aorist tense conjugation chart for dohaeregon, to serve. You can see that dohaeris is the third person collective conjugation of dohaeregon and matches in number with the subject that it describes, all men. This is a basic conjugation chart for the aorist tense. We won't use this for anything else for a little bit, but if you were looking at the suffixes of morghulis and dohaeris and wondered where it came from, this is it. Interestingly, Unit 2 also phrases Valar Dohaeris and a few other lines as questions, so let's talk about forming those. Valar Dohaeris, must all men serve? Forming yes or no questions in High Valyrian is as simple as adding a question mark and changing the pitch of your wording. Compare Azantis Ixa with Azantis Ixa. High Valyrian words no and yes are also explained in this unit, and they're both a bit more versatile than their English equivalents. Daor is the High Valyrian word meaning no and not, so the sentence drivose daor could be translated as actually no or not actually by the translator's discretion. Yes, you might notice, looks suspiciously similar to the third person singular conjugation of the word sagon that we learned in Unit 1. That's because it is the very same. The word isa is he, she, or it is, and a simple confirmation of being. Yes, that's how we get sentences like this popping up in Unit 2. Isa, hontes isa. Yes, he is a bird. Every High Valyrian sentence must have a verb, otherwise it's just a sentence fragment. In High Valyrian, because they're inflection patterns, finite verbs are indicative enough of the situation to be complete sentences all on their own. Here are some quick examples of one-word High Valyrian sentences using the verbs that we were introduced to in Unit 1. Edrus, he, she, or it is sleeping. Nagesi, they are sweating. Lirit, we are smiling. Vaida, you are singing. Unit 2 also introduces our very first High Valyrian adverbs. We get dreji, which is the English equivalent to truly, very, or correctly. Drivose, meaning actually, and arli, which means again. In all of the example sentences that we see in this lesson, the adverb is placed at the beginning of the sentence. Duo doesn't discuss other adverb placement options until later in this unit. Unit 2 does introduce the use of proper nouns and names borrowed from non-Valyrian origins, though. To introduce yourself properly and to ask someone's name, you'll need this basic grammatical understanding of High Valyrian nouns. Nouns in High Valyrian, even proper nouns, inflect for the 4 grammatical numbers like we explored earlier, but they also decline for case. There are 8 noun cases that indicate the function of the noun in the sentence. A noun's declension pattern is determined mainly by the last vowel in the noun stem. That's a lot to take in at once, so let's back up and apply it. Skoros o habrozi isa. What is your name? Duolingo uses John and Daenerys as the example names in this lesson. Daenerys is already a Valyrian name, written with Valyrian romanization in mind. John is not. That J sound for an example is not found in High Valyrian. It's instead most often pronounced like E-G-G-Y in eggy yolk, E, as seen here. Here are the pronunciation notes to familiarize yourself with the peculiarities, by the way. Applying this knowledge to represent the sound John in High Valyrian, we'll use an I and an O with a macron. John becomes Jon, and now all we need is the correct declension pattern for the noun. Let's say that John didn't already exist in the High Valyrian dictionary, which it does. You can pull it up and look at the chart for John easily, but your name probably won't already be declined for you. So if it wasn't already done for us, we still can find the correct declension pattern for a non-Valyrian name. Down in the small council chambers below, I linked a page from the High Valyrian language wiki that lists the declension classes. Choose either the 6th declension class or the declension that corresponds with the ending of your name. The first declension nouns have the stem vowel A. Second declension nouns have the stem vowel Y. John has an O for the final vowel, making it a 3rd declension class. 4th declension nouns have E stems, and the 5th declension have I's. The 6th declension is used for miscellaneous nouns, especially for those that have not been fully accepted into High Valyrian as a language. If you hear me talk about TikTok in High Valyrian, I'm using the 6th declension pattern for the noun. You should absolutely join me on TikTok if you're enjoying this, by the way, but this isn't about me. Back to John. If you deep dive the noun declension list that I linked in the small council chambers down below, you will probably notice the 3rd declension chart for the terrestrial words that end in O-N. And when you see that chart, you'll probably wonder why the word John that ends in O-N wouldn't use that chart. I speculate if the O-N were to be treated as the noun suffix, there would not be enough left of the name to make it recognizable as it's declined through the various sentences. Thus, as it is optional and common, one of these endings was added to the names as they were becoming Valyrianized. The ending OS was added to Jon to make it Jonos, and that is the nominative solar noun indicating that John is the subject of the sentence. Jonos iksan, Nuhabrosi Jonos Isa. My name is John. One frequent point of confusion I see navigated in this unit is over the sentence Nuhabrosi blank Isa. Last unit we learned that possessive adjectives like Nuha must agree in gender, number, and case with the noun that it describes. Beginners will mistakenly say Nuhi brosi blank Isa or Nuhi brosi blank Isi in an attempt to match Nuhi and brosi. Both end with an I. However, not all words that end with an I are plural, and adding an I to the end of a word is not a reliable standard pluralization strategy in High Valyrian. Brosi is the singular version of the word name, so it should be paired with the singular version of the word my. We're only talking about one name. It is blank. So we want the 3rd person singular version of to be, not the 3rd person plural, isi. Another concept explored in Unit 2 is complex coordination, which sounds intimidating, but is really just a fancy word for using the word and in situations where lengthening the last vowel of the coordinating pair doesn't work. In Unit 1, Duo demonstrated that High Valyrian sentences often skip the word and when coordinating 2 or more nouns. The boy is Tauba, the girl is Rinya, the boy and the girl is Tauba Rinya, where the macron is placed above the last vowel in girl and lengthens the sound. This strategy, called conjunctive lengthening, works great for sentences like the boy and the girl are sleeping. Taoba edrusi. But if the children are doing two different activities, for example, the boy is sleeping and the girl is smiling, we can no longer use conjunctive lengthening to coordinate the sentence fragments. Se is the High Valyrian equivalent to and is used when coordinating modifying elements such as adjectives, or like we see here, consecutive main sentence clauses. Taoba edrus se rinya liris. Using se in instances where conjunctive lengthening could be used is uncommon, and in High Valyrian is considered formal. Unit 2 familiarizes the user with both coordination strategies. With these grammar tips in mind, I imagine Section 1 of Unit 2 of Duolingo's High Valyrian learning tree will be much easier for you to navigate. If you found this discussion useful, please thumbs up the video and subscribe. If you have questions, please voice them in the small council chambers below, and I will see you back here shortly for Unit 3. Thank you so much for watching. Gracias.